Good evening, YouTubers. Michael Green here again with another Land Rover story. This time it's a 1971 88-inch Deluxe Hardtop, as it was called in North America. And this thing sat in somebody's yard, I think grandma's, for 15 or 18 years. And the critters were living in it. Stay tuned. Well, here we are again. This is, we call him up and tell him, well, we got the front cleaned and painted, and now we found this and we found that. And then we found, when we took the headliner out, Max is gone. You can see through the roof. The corrosion from the little mice is cropping up in there. Had 8 holes in the aluminum. Next thing you know, the whole car came apart, and here it is. We didn't get a lot of pictures of it, unfortunately. Yeah, as you can tell, the weather was a bit crappy. This is when we started to paint the front, and then we abandoned it. We were backtracking. Customers like, okay, let's do this, let's do that. Because I said, all you're doing is flogging a dead horse. But these had some really cool 15 by 8 wheels that probably come out of Dick CPEC, would be my thought. Down in Southern California in the old days, you used to take Land Rover wheels, take the centers out, and then stick them back together again. As we're getting it apart, you can see it's not in the greatest condition. It's dirty, it's rusty. It's not rusty like you guys in the East Coast, but look, all the window runners are crap and the cables are seizing up. And so we cleaned a lot of it, overhauled all the dash. The winch was in pretty diabolical condition. It had a Bellevue. It was that old. Instead of it being called a Warren, it was called a Bellevue in the old days. Anyway, that's what we got to here, and we just kept going. I wish we'd have taken more pictures in those days. Easy shot, but we're trying to match up pulleys for the front so we can run water pumps and belts and alternators and things like that. And that was getting to be a hard part because you couldn't call my dad's office over in Brisbane and say, hey, stick it in my dad's trunk and I'd bring it over, right? It was decided it was going to get a ROVER V8. So we took an empty block with no crank, right? We laid it in. We put a head on one side with 2 bolts so we knew where the exhaust pipe was sitting. The problem was all this is in the way. And because it's a left-hand drive, you see the steering box, all this has got to go that way. And then we've got this damn Yahoo oil pump system thing, which I didn't like. Anyway, so we had to do some cutting and some chopping. And we made a quickie dirty mount right here real quick to hold this. And this one's just laying on a piece of rubber. It takes a bit of engineering and screwing around because, you can't have, this has to be this way because if the diff bottoms out, you don't want it to come up and taking the oil filter off, right? A lot of guys don't think of this stuff. I'm ahead of myself a little bit, and this is a different picture, as you can see. So we've got part of a pulley on the bottom. The pulley that's on the water pump, actually, believe it or not, was off a freaking Jeep because the 4 bolts fit. And the water pump's SD1 TR8. And it has a TR8 timing cover on it because we don't want it up high because it's a Land Rover, not a Range Rover. The whole front's different. So is the Defender compared to this. So we're using the shallower timing covers. You can see what we're doing to some degree, right? See, here's the heater spigots right here. This nasty old thing got sold off real cheap. I mean, they've become kind of a point where they're not even valuable anymore. Go figure, It's a pretty bulletproof engine. You guys, well, to make any power. Well, they never made any power, and you have to know how to work on them to make some power out of them. And unfortunately, there's too many know-it-alls out there. They don't listen to what I tell them. I can make one of those go down the road pretty good. I got one in a gray 88. Some bitch ran 80, 85 mile an hour down the freeway. Speed costs money. How fast do you want to go? All right, we got the back off. We got all the lights stripped off. We're going to take all the galvanized cap. It's going to come off. It's going to go to plate shop, get stripped. We'll bang it straight before it goes. So it'll come back looking pretty. We've cut the battery holder off because the battery's going to go under the seat in the toolbox because it has a setup for it. firewall has got to come off. We've already marked it. It's ready to be cut. I just went in and bent a panel on the machine, which I have, and we're about ready to start sticking that together as soon as I get the firewall on the floor so Earl can get the zapper on it. Excuse the pictures. We got upside downsies and wide ones. We've got a partial engine. That engine's got a crank in it. It's got a cam in it. It's got timing covers bolted up permanent. The heads are bolted up. Intake manifolds on. It's almost ready to go, but we've got it bolted in with a couple of bolts. That's it. There's no gearbox on it right now. We're just making sure that the firewall is going to fit, right? And it must have fit because it's already back from the powder coaters. Look at that. That is not paint, people. That sucker's powder coated. All right, here you go. We're getting things on. Let's see if I can get this shot better for you. I don't know if that's a little better. We've done some modifications. You can see my new part. It's all riveted in. And I think the big problem was, but wasn't later, was we put a Series 3 gearbox in it, which put the slave cylinder over on the left instead of on the right where it's in the freaking way. This is all ready to fly. This stuff's on, bolted up, steering box is in, pedal towers rebuilt in, all the wiper gears rebuilt, screens, all that's been to the plating shop or paint shop. The seat box is on. We're starting to make progress now. A little better angle. A little different angle. We got the cover on with the demister nozzles on and things. We got a wiring harness shoved in it now. We got a battery kill switch in. She's getting there. It took longer to do it. The guy was getting a bit nervous because I had other things to do besides his car was the problem. And usually these kind of jobs get kind of back-burnered. You know, I mean, see where the seat racks are? Well, they were so crappy. We had to send them to a plate shop. They deplate them so it strips all the garbage and all the rat hair out of them, everything. Then we recad plate them and they work slick as new. And then the seat bases are all powder coated black. All that black stuff's powder coat. There's no paint in his car. The only paint on that car is on the chassis. Like everything else, you know, dash needs an overhaul. It's got a few of my sticky fingerprints on it, but other than that, it's been stripped. It's powder coated. I mean, you can't beat the quality when I do it like this, you know. You don't have lousy overspray or you got some kid's fingerprints on it because you didn't wait till it was dry to work on it, you know. Another shot from the right side, we've got the manifolds are in. You can see we've got mucho clearance between the valve cover and the firewall. There's no heater back in yet. We got all the brake pedal towers with the twin brakes on it. It's got an Edelbrock 500 carburetor on it now. Hindsight, I mean, 15 years, 12 years later, I wish I hadn't put it on. I should have put a 470 Holly on it, but I didn't. And it worked for a while, but I heard from him recently, and I think the biggest problem was not driving it enough. But anyway, now we've just got the grill panel ready to go. We got an original radiator in, using to size it up before we put a new radiator on. We always just use the junky one. No, he's banging up a new one. It's got all new brake pipes on it, new brake hoses, new U-bolts, got new road springs. We rebuilt the diffs, we rebuilt the swivels, we rebuilt the brakes. I rebuilt the gearbox, the transfer case. I mean, you name it, we did it. Just another angle. You can see we got the throttle cross shafts in, brake pipes are on. See, you can see all of them go down. Again, that's not been painted. This has not been overhauled. It's not new. It's just there to do setup. And we'll pull it off. And when the fenders and the other body stuff goes to powder coater to get painted, that'll get painted too. Okay, now we got a fender on. You know, we're at that point. We got to start hanging the fender. It's got a couple of bolts on the bulkhead, a couple in here just to steady things, to make sure everything's clean. It fits, boom. This side's going to be ready. So this is going to be off to the powder coaters really quickly. We got the heater in. Heater motor blower doobie hasn't been fitted yet, as you can see, but the brackets are powder coated. bolts and plated. I mean, everything goes to the plating shop. It's the only way you can do this. You can't just wire brush some rusty old bolt, put the bolt back. We're wiring, got the tack in. We're getting plugged up on the wipers. And we got the dash going here. We got the heater tunnel in. The ignition switch and hazard warnings are in. You know, it's just, this is what you do every day. You just keep plugging along. This is what I do. 2 fuse box. Original type, auxiliary. So we've got some main stuff coming in and coming over here to protect stuff, right? So you'll see main feed fused, starter wire, which is the white one with the red tracer. And we got some auxiliary stuff going. That way this car's going, hey, I blew a fuse and everything's out. Not on this one, right? Here's your joiner for the pipes. Lefts, rights, fronts, rears, etc. Another engine picture, right? Okay, so we're getting there. We're buttoning things up. Got a genuine ROVER oil gauge there. We're plugged in on a water temp. We got vacuum booster plugged in on the Edelbrock. Got automatic choke plugged in. We got a heater switch back here. Fuel lines are on. Clutch hoses are on. She's getting there. And the brakes have probably been bled by now. And we're making all this work off of the original ROVER linkage. There's not a big deal. It's got extra springs on it here, there, and everywhere. And it looks tidy, doesn't it, people? There, see, every day, a little bit more. Alternators on, water pumps on, hoses are on. We're getting ready to hook up the oil filter. It's going to be remote. It's going to hang on the fender inside. Easy to get at, no damage off-road, yada, yada, yada. Showing the progress more than anything, you know. See if we can move this picture up a little bit more so you can see better. Yeah, it's me fiddling. Sorry. Another day, so we got the original 71 side marker reflectors on. Got hella 8-inch quartz headlights in it. It's got an air filter on it now. It's got a new radiator in it. The grill panel's been painted and the tabs have been CAD plated, and it's got the pad on the top and the latches in. It's probably already been started by now too. Well, stuff's going on out front, stuff's going on out back too. It's got these huge, stupid, original US only turn signals that came from 71, I believe, onwards on a Series 3. You can't buy any parts for them because as soon as they stopped selling these in America, Lucas quit making all that stuff immediately because it was only made for the United States. So good luck finding those. If you do, the rear is hen's teeth. One seat's bolted in. We're going to start putting the runners in the window. It's got a glass in this one, no glass in that one, right? This, so I'm going to back up to show it to you, right? Check this out. This is what it looks like after it's all been prepped, powder coated, and they delivered it. Is this cool or what? See, I don't have to do zip now except bolt the thing on and don't scratch it. And it's very hard to scratch and damage. Here's the sides of the top seat box. Here's the tops of the doors. Front fenders are over there. They're all together now. I mean, this thing is gorgeous. You can eat off it. I'm picking the speed up on this a bit and just to get to this story going. So owner's got it licensed, sent us the papers. We're still screwing with tail lamps. I ordered new lenses, which I could still get. Ooh, you know, remember what I'm telling you, the word goldenrod. Well, goldenrod, that's goldenrod 3 sitting right there. More on that one in a minute, but you'll see why this means something in a bit, and I'll tell you the story. We're back up front, and again, you can see that yellow monster poking around the corner over there, right? And over to the right, you see a gray 66 88-inch, which I restored as well. Probably the most expensive one I ever built is that yellow one back there. That thing was in the Sandy flood. And there isn't another Land Rover like it on the planet. Guaranteed. I'm going to try to go up here. There you go. I'm sorry I'm screwing this up, but I'm by myself and I don't feel well, and this is kind of how it's going to be today. Anyway, roof's on. We got window tapes and bits and pieces. All the glasses in. The cabinets are on. The gas cap's on. Heater vents in. The heater all works. We just haven't put the bonnet and the bumper on yet. Right? It's already been fired up. It's already been roared around in the parking lot. It's in doing final stuff on the trim. I was behind. He's leaning on me. You know, one of these fun deals. There's the inside. We didn't put any trim. He didn't care about trim anymore. He just wanted his car. He was becoming kind of a pain in the ass, to be honest. All fun and games. He's a fabulous man. I get his frustration, but sometimes mad scientists like me, you know, we can only be pushed so far, and it's like I can only get it done when I get it done, and I have other things to do other than your car. Anyway, so I don't know what he did with trim on it. It's already been out. It's going to go out again. We didn't get time to really drive it much. I wanted to take it up to Reno and back and run it in and come back and change oils and stuff, but he was insistent on coming and getting it immediately, and he came and got it, and he drove it from Livermore, California, straight through to Portland. So that was kind of entertaining. Okay, so he was able to do this, only because I changed all the axle ratios in this thing. I didn't leave the 470 diffs in it when I overhauled the axles. This sucker's got a 24 spline Range Rover rear diff in it, and it's got a 10 spline in the front. That way we could use all the original Land Rover axle shafts in the front. And then we put heavy duty axles in the back, and there's no overdrive. Doesn't need it. Not with Range Rover diffs in it. This son of a bitch will cruise at 80 miles an hour. It'll do north of 100 if you got the guts to stand on it. Problem is it doesn't have the brakes. Whoa, hang on. Let me stop right there. We're getting there. We got that bumper powder coated because it was terrible. I mean, terrible. We straightened it out, had it powder coated. I told him you're going to have to take the winch up to Bellevue, Washington, unbolt it, hand it to him, say rebuild that, because I couldn't do it. I didn't have time to it. Got all the new lights on it. We're getting almost ready here. All the wipers work. Everything works on this thing. So remember that. Got Rover V8, Edelbrock's got special camshaft in it, TR8 goodies on the front. We modified the cylinder heads. I won't tell you how because it's my secret. But we make those heads breathe fairly inexpensively. Range Rover diffs front and back. Got all new road springs, new shock absorbers, new bushings, yada, yada, yada. Back into time now. It's 1965. Bruce McWilliams is president of Rover Motor Company, North America. Oh, and what he wants to do is sell more Land Rovers. And he wants to give what the public they want. There's people complaining. You know, the speed's too slow on the highway. It eats gas. It makes a lot of noise. But it's still better than anything else on the market. And the big problem was England didn't understand one bit. I have all the telexes going between my dad's office in San Francisco, South San Francisco, later Brisbane, back and forth to Rover's office at the Chrysler Building in New York, and even to Solly Hall. And, you know, why are you sending Land Rovers over here with 470 gear ratios and 12-gallon gas tanks would be some of the quizzes. And I have one of the telexes my dad writes back to McWilliams. It says, I don't think UK understands the vast distances involved over here. You know, when somebody tells you to take a Land Rover to the Farm and Tractor Show in England and they want you to go to Omaha, Nebraska, and the nearest Land Rover's in San Francisco, that it's a 5-day ride. Oh, I thought it was just down the road. Yeah, not hardly, and not in a Land Rover. And when my dad did that trip in 1960, there was no freeway. It didn't exist. It was Highway 40, and it was 2 lanes all the way. And Medicine Bow State Park, Wyoming, where the freeway is over 10,000 feet. You try doing that in an 88-inch diesel. Yeah, Dad did. So anyway, comes 1966, McWilliams says, this is what we're building. And he gives the project to my father. And that project has called Project BOP. It's Buick Oldsmobile Pontiac. Why? Well, when McWilliams and William Martin Hearst, and my dad was involved too, were poking around, they went to Mercury Marine. Mercury Marine had this engine there, and it was a Buick, and it was a Buick that had a problem. And it was a 215 Buick, and they find out General Motors having trouble with casting blocks, and I won't go into the story, it goes on and on and on. So in the end, Rover buys Project BOP. So they buy all the engine rights for the Buick, Pontiac, and the Oldsmobile engines. General Motors can produce no parts at all. And then General Motors is going to come to England and help with the changeover, because we've got to make the blocks, modify the blocks that were going to be sand cast instead of pressure cast. That was the problem, was the pressure casting. And now it's going to have, instead of a big Delco starter, it's going to have a Lucas starter, and it's going to have a Lucas alternator, and it's going to have different carburetors, because nobody liked the American carburetors. You put it on in a Rover car, and a heavy cornering, the fuel would slosh, and then the thing would stall and hesitate and fart and bang. So they threw away the stupid carburetors, and they put SU carburetors. Problem solved. The thing runs smooth as glass. You can throw it upside down and it runs smooth as glass. So anyway, there's all these projects. So anyway, this was the end result. This picture is taken in September 1966, and that's Old St. Raymond's Church in Dublin, California. I get married in there. We used to play in there when we were little too. And Dad drove that Land Rover from Dublin to New York. Took him 5 days. And I have a cassette tape of it. It's quite an adventure, especially when you're tearing through Battle Mountain, Nevada, and it's snowing and his road speed's north of 80 miles an hour. It's historical. Anyway, this is where the V8 Land Rover project came from. The car was christened, quote, Goldenrod. Why? Because my dad didn't paint it the colors that McWilliams wanted. They painted it Goldenrod, which was the color of Mahler Brothers tow trucks. And we had a 32 Aston Martin Le Mans car that was also the same color. So it popped on the Land Rover. That with the black trim on the sides, black upholstery, chrome bumpers, chrome grills. The whole ends of the bonnet's been polished, then masked off and painted. It had a Land Rover front bumper cut, shortened, modified. They're on the back. And they're chrome. It's got the exhaust pipe sticking out under the door. It made a lot of noise. And the funniest part of the whole trip to New York was Dad passed a guy in a Series 1 going up Blue Canyon grade out of Auburn, California. And Dad says, I must have been doing 75, 78 miles an hour when I went by him. And the look on his face, he says, was just priceless, you know. And the joke was, we figured the guy was probably down in the third gear with a hand throttle stuck in a firewall and just, you know, motoring along. So anyway, all the V8 Land Rovers that came out of the factory took forever. It was a stage 1. We didn't get introduced until February 1979 was the first one rolled off the line. And guess what color it was? It was yellow. Anyway, but we never got them in America. So what we're building is this white one isn't a goldenrod, but it is. And you'll see in a moment. I thought that would entertain you guys. Dad stopped for a break. And even the dash was changed. I mean, they did all kinds. And I like the big, cool stereo with the lock on it, you know, so you could unlock it and take it with you. I think you guys call them ghetto blasters, you know, in the 80s. Yeah, this was one of a kind. It went to Southampton by ship. My dad flew there a couple of weeks later, picked the car up, and one of my buddies who just retired from Land Rover about 5 years ago, he said, I remember your dad coming through the front gate with that thing, and we were just smoked. The noise it made, the colors, it was just unbelievable. And that evening, William Martin Hearst and Dad tore off to dinner in it down High Street in Solly Hall, and then blew off some guy with an E-Type in the pouring rain. So Browns Lane Jaggers knew real quick that Land Rover had a hot rod. In 1984 and into 1985, I sold my Series 3 Land Rover, and I took this 71 in on trade, which had a blown motor in it. It sounded like a steam train. And we stripped it and overhauled it. It's a lousy shot, but you can see the yellow. Now, the yellow on this one was the color that McWilliams wanted, and so were the wheels. and this was called Goldenrod 2. And it even got the original Land Rover V8 decals, but this sucker's got a TR8 engine under the hood, and roll bars and everything. He's saying this is 1985 at the SCCA Carson City International Pro Rally in Nevada, and it's got a whole bunch of Lucas 2020 lamps on it. It still had the 470 diffs in this one, because of what we were doing with it. And then we had a Toro overdrive, which was far better than that Ferry ever was because it held a shitload of oil. And I had the gear lever coming out of the middle of the toolbox with another box next to it with all the switches for all the driving lights on the front and things like that. And then Patty could, if she had to, the navigator, she could shift the overdrive if push came to shove, you know, which on the Virginia City Hill Climb task, which was a stage on the pavement, Brett and Eric took off in the 73 Range Rover before we did, just because that was the rule at the time. And I got on the radio after we got up a couple of corners, and I said, I'll pass you before halfway. And when we got close, we had lights on, and I got on the radio and said, I'm coming up your inside, next corner, and he swung left, and we put one set of wheels down in the dirt and the others in the pavement, flashed around him and disappeared. We got up to the top to the finish line, crossed the finish line, which was a bridge, and parked in front of the sheriff's office. I grabbed my camera, ran back, and got a picture of Brett coming over the line of Range Rover. So it was great to get. I didn't think that thing was going to blow up that good, that well. But anyway, this is leaving the start in Goldenrod 2, and I'm on it. We're doing 6,000 every gear change, just trying to accelerate. So we take off first, take up second, I'll wind second, because there was next corner. We'd go to third, and then part of the way out of that corner, we go to third over, and then back to third again, and so on. You know, we're splitting gears all the way up. Only one section did we get to fourth direct for any kind of time, and no sooner did I get to max rev, I was back on the anchors again. You know, you try driving a Land Rover, sliding the tires around the corner. We're in high range four-wheel drive, so she was bucking in the corners, but we're spinning the tires enough, we weren't getting any wind up. So anyway, yeah, naughty things you can do. We're about done with the Kramer project here. As you can see, we're winding down. She's in for the evening. The only thing that's distracting is that nasty looking winch. He's on his way. We're going to do a quickie photo shoot, and stay with us. Don't she look pretty? I mean, she really does. Let me see if I can make this a little better for you. Is that better? Yeah, there you go. That's better. All right. Pretty car. Pretty car. I mean, it came out fabulous. I got Bob to do the front of the headliner for it. But other than that, it was going to get cold in there going north. He didn't want to keep those big wheels for some reason, as you can see, and I don't remember what we did them. I think we gave them away to somebody, but he wanted these, so we put these on, which was good because we could run these tubeless. The other ones you couldn't. So I think that was the mindset, was you could put tubeless tires on it, and you don't have to worry about, you know, inner tubes and stuff. Final shot of the upholstery. Look at that. We put a locking center console on it. It's got some drink holders on it and somewhere to put his valuables, and it's bolted in. So it's like somebody can just grab it and run out the door. Had a hand throttle on it, actually worked. We give him something to plug in his phones in those days. Other than that, there's no tunes, you know, but heater worked. Everything worked. I mean, it was a fun project. I missed that I didn't get to do some more seat time in it. Ooh, now what is that? You know, we just had to advertise the fact, genuine Rover decals. But, you know, it's one of those things, we just want it sitting at the light, somebody looks at it and goes, some bitch got V8 in it, right? We had these made. What does it say? It says Goldenrod by WCBR and Goldenrod 3. Well, this one goes on this car, that one went on the yellow car. Because Goldenrod 3 was a 1995 Defender 90 that was in a sandy flood. We stripped it 100%, and you'll see a story on that soon. It's absolutely fabulous. If you look close, right there, under the Land Rover badge, it says Goldenrod by WCBR on the back. It's not obnoxious, it's just there. And that tells you that it was Richard Green approved V8 powered Land Rover. The same setup as the Goldenrod prototype was in 1966. That's all that's telling you. Who built it, why and when, right? So if you see it at a car show at Portland or Seattle, go poke around. Look at it. It's a pretty car. I hope it's still pretty. Shot under the hood before we say goodnight because the next day it left. And I've never seen it again. He called up once and he says, it makes a lot of ticky noise. I said, yeah. I said, I know why. And I said, that's because the part wasn't available at the time. The part's available, so I sent them up to him. And that cured that problem. And fabulous car. I mean, you know, stuff like this isn't cheap. Everybody thinks, oh, well, I can do that at home. Well, if you've got the wherewithal and the tools and the knowledge, have at it. Give us a call. As you can see, that even the spigot on the radiator, why does that hose move like that? Oh, because we modified it, right? Anyway, hope you enjoyed the ride through time with Land Rovers. Leave you with this parting shot. Oh, yeah, look at that. There's actually a big cooling fan in there. Wink, wink. Anyway, like, subscribe, tell your friends, and leave some cool comments about your Land Rovers, too. And please subscribe because it really helps us out, okay? And we'll have another cool Rover project soon enough for you on YouTube by West Coast British. Bye.